The most famous supernova of the modern era was a supernova which exploded in 1987 and was dubbed 1987A in the Large Magellanic Cloud, which is a satellite galaxy of our own galaxy, Milky Way. And I have a picture here on the left and the right, which was before the explosion and after the explosion. Before the explosion, this pointed arrow points to the star, which was recorded because the galaxy was so close by, and it could easily see or rather resolve individual stars there, and which were bright enough to be also recorded because they were so close by. And on the right you have the picture where you have the supernova had already exploded, and it's so bright that it swamps all nearby light emission from nearby fainter stars. Next slide. Next slide is a more panoramic view of the Large Magellanic Cloud, and in the inset and in the center of the central image you see a Hubble Space Telescope image of the supernova itself, which is the central part of the star, central part of this region, and surrounded by rings of gas which were ejected and illuminated later on by the star in a well before it had actually managed to explode. Next slide. Next slide shows a picture of the Super Kamioka experiment, which was an underground experiment in Japan to detect neutrinos. Now, it so happened that when this supernova exploded so close by, it sent out a huge burst of neutrinos in all directions, and while the experiment was not originally geared to look for such neutrinos from such explosive events, it managed to record a number of such events because the burst of neutrinos arrived at the Earth somewhat prior to the recording of the optical burst, which was seen by optical astronomers. And in fact, it was recorded not just by Kamioka, whose picture you see on the left before it was fully operational, but also by the so-called Irvine, Michigan and Brookhaven experiment, IMB experiment, which was an experiment in the United States. And this was the first direct signal from the core collapse of the star inside a supernova.